Okay, guys. Now, one thing I didn't mention on my, materials list thing, I purchased all this. This isn't, like, sponsored by anybody. I'm not doing any design team or anything. This is just all me. So I just wanted to let you know that. Okay, so this is the Time and the Place collection. Again, any collection will work. First thing you're going to do is make folders. Now, unfortunately, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is my 4th try at doing these videos. Either I changed significantly what I was doing because it wasn't working out the way I wanted it to, or, well, one of them I lost or corrupted, or, I don't know about. Anyway, so I've already made all my folders. So I am going to go over this with you, and let me just get a little strip of paper here so you can see that there is an end here. And my poor Timmy ruler is just about running out of lines. So this is 8.5 by by 2, 4, 6, 8 16ths. No, because that would be a half. It's basically 9.5. Yeah, okay. If I put the ruler all the way over to the edge, it would work. So 8.5 by 9.5. I just want to double check my next, yeah, 8.5 by 9.5. On the 8.5 inch side, you score at 6 3/4 and 7. Okay, so on this 8.5 side, you're going to score at 6 3/4 and 7, or if you do it the other direction, you can score at 1.5 and 1 3/4. So whichever way that works for you. The other sheet is 6 3/8 by 9.5. Okay, so this sheet, what I did was I took this 8.5, made my folds. Here's the pocket. I folded on the furthest score mark from the pocket. And when you fold on that mark, it actually makes everything exactly line up. Okay, so that's what we want, is that fold line that is the most inner of this page, or the furthest away from the pocket end. So then you're going to fold that, and you're going to put glue ever so lightly on the edges on both sides. If you want to leave it a little bit from the top, which I did not do, if you want to leave that so it's easier to slide paper under for matting purposes, then don't go all the way up to the end. You can catch that later after we've done the decorative paper. So just go up like 3/4 of the way with your glue. Fold that piece over. Take this piece, this smaller piece, the 6 3/8 by 9.5, and you're going to put glue on the 6 3/8, on the 9.5 side. You're going to set both of them against the table, match both sides together, and then pinch across and let that sit so that you are perfectly lined up. Okay? Then, once you get 12 of these made, we can move forward. All right, now I did show everybody the January one, and I was going to do January, February, March, April, May, June, blah, blah, blah. Well, I was looking at the January one, getting ready to do February, and I totally copied. I don't know if it's because I don't know. Don't have a clue. But as you can see, they are basically the same, but yet they look, you know, somewhat different because of the different pieces and parts that you're putting in. Anyway, so what I'm going to end up doing, because these are large enough, there's a 1/4 of an inch in between, so once you get envelopes, I mean your cards in there and things like that, you'll be able to get 5x7 cards or your regular 4.5 by 5, 5.5 by 4.25, the A2 cards. So A2, A7 cards, 6x6 cards I believe will be, which I guess is 5x5 and 6x6 cards are really in now too, from what I understand. So anyway, so you'll be able to fit all of those in here. So I'm going to do January, February, then I'm going to do March and April center, and May and June on the right. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I think it'll work out just fine. You know what? It's just figure it out as you go. Have a good time with it and don't worry about it. So I have started July because I wanted to start with the left-hand side. Now you can start either right or left, however you want to do it, and you can go January, February, March if you want to. Obviously I couldn't. I don't have enough papers that I needed in order to do it again. So anyway, the side with the glued on piece of paper, so right here, this is the back of the folder. The absolutely flush, clean, no lines, no score marks and anything, that is the front. So that's what we're working on first. I'm taking a piece of black cardstock. Please ignore this. I'm just going through the motions because I already did a video with this. So I'm trying to catch back up. So you're going to just put your paper down and make marks so that you end up getting a nice edge all the way around. Now it's your choice if you want to do 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. That's your choice. This is about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. That's usually what I do. I think the 1/16 is sharp as all get out, but I think, and I don't mean to make this sound bad, but I think for beginners, a 1/16 of an inch is really hard and puts a lot of pressure on all of your skills, because you got to get everything right from start to finish in order to get a pretty 1/16 of an inch. The 1/8 of an inch you can fudge a little bit, and it's a little bit more forgiving, I guess, is what I'm going for. Okay, so once you get that paper, that's what you're gonna work on. Then you're going to pull your papers from your bag. And again, I told you I am working on July's right now. Because that's the next one that's going to be the left. So I have, with July, I have the blue, and then the other folder, and then all of these pieces and parts that I went over in the materials list of what you can cut off. I will attach the materials list. It's all going to be in a playlist called Card Box Organizer. I did one of these many years ago from my best friend Laurel. You guys have heard me talk about her. And I had a wooden box that I found at a garage sale. And I actually made the folders to fit into the wooden box, and now she has the wooden box somewhere in her craft room. It gets moved around occasionally, but and she has her folders in there, and because she keeps up with birthdays and everything for everybody, because she's such a sweet lady. Anyway, okay, so I will try and link that to this video so that you can look at that too, and that might be an option if you have a box sitting around, you know. So there you go. Then I'm first going to cut a mat, okay? So in the same way I did the black, you just lay it, mark it, get it cut. I've got a nice 1/8 of an inch. Let's see, maybe on the white you can see all the black, 1/8 of an inch around, okay? And then I put my 6x6, well, 6x6.5 inch flap, and I'm going to want to have it have a little bit of edge here, a little bit of edge here. I do kind of fudge just a little bit and pull this down just a little bit more than what this side edge is. So the top and the bottom aren't even. I like having a little bit bigger edge down here just because it makes the workings a little easier to open it up and stuff. And I do up here because I actually am slicing through the paper and putting the flap, oh, I'm sorry, you're getting a glare. Putting the flap, there you can see, no you can't, there, you can see my flap, and I have glued that down. Now I put some sticky tape on this little sliver of paper, whoop, where am I? This little sliver of paper across the top here. I want that to be behind my flap, so it has to stick behind this flap. And then I put the sticky double-sided tape there to reinforce it kind of back together so that it's not going to be flipping and flapping and get torn or anything like that. Okay, so that's the basic part of that build. Then, and the flap again was, oh no, I'm actually, so you get as many of these as possible, I made the flap 6x6. So that was one thing that I had changed. So if you have 3 12x12 pieces of black, you can get all of these flaps because I made them just 6x6. You have to cut the calendar down a little bit if you do have the 6x8 calendar, but I figured a lot of people aren't, and this way with 2 pieces of 12x12 you're going to be able to do 4 of these books, you know, I mean 3 pieces, you're going to be able to do all of these books. So 3 pieces of the, yeah. Holy Toledo. Because 3 times 4 is 12, people. Okay. Then, so you've got the 6x6. And then, of course, you need a 1-inch strip. Score it in half. Cut it 6 inches. And that's what you're going to use. You're going to stick one end on one of the sides here, and the other end goes through your slot. We will go over this again. I'm just catching you up to speed. Here, I don't know what that is. There. Then you're going to need 2 4 inches by 2.5 inches. And these are the pockets. If you are using a 1/2 inch, if you want to use a larger one, then it just means that your pocket will be, you know, there'll be less actual solid paper, which is fine. If you have the larger one that you want to use for this, that's fine. This is just the one that that I am using for. I also have a video, if you have problems lining these up, I have a video that goes over how you do that with, you know, everything really, really close up, and so if you have problems getting a continuous line that looks good, then I will try and attach that video to this as well. I think it's a Learn with Lisa. I'm not positive. Okay, then for this, I'm going to take and cut just a little bit of an angle right to the fold line, right up to that edge. Okay, so there, that's what I've cut. And then I'm going to look at this and see where I want to cut it that's going to make it look the best. And I'm going to pull this back this way a little bit, and I'm just going to come right in, and I'm going to try and follow that around. Okay, so there is how I'm going to do that for my pocket. So same on this one. Clip it right up to that corner. And now this one, see this little final little drop down here? It's kind of half on and half off. I'm going to go ahead and cut that because I do want them to end the same. So now I've cut that off, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to try and follow that around. So there is how I'm doing my pocket. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to change this one because it worked out where I had both of those, but I'm going to cut this little sliver off so that they both look the same. So I'm just going to come straight across here and then come right there. And now I have it that way. Do the same thing on this side. Right there. And right there. Okay, so now these both look the same. And so we're ready to put the pockets on. I can put the bottom one on right now. We're going to leave ourselves equal amount of edge between here, between the flip and the edge of the page. Can you see how I have a little bit of blue all the way around? So that's where we're going to want to put these pockets. All right. You know, I've seen people shake up this glue, and I don't know why I do it. I've never shook glue up except for when it was old, because this stuff, I go through it like I do chocolate. Well, oh God, if I ate as much chocolate as I go through glue, I'd be big as a house. And we wanted to make these pockets as large as possible, because you can tell this is a 1/2 inch, and this is way less than a 1/2 inch. And the only reason is because I cut it at 4 inches, because that's, I think, what I had left after cutting this. I don't remember. And but I score one side and then measure and score the other so that I get that little bit of edge. Oops, let's also put some bottom. So that, and again, when I actually go through the whole build of one of these pages with you, and I'm so sorry that I kind of am leading you through the back end of this thing. Oh, that's not straight at all. Not straight at all. Better. Now let's see if that glue's going to hold. Sometimes it will and sometimes it won't. Oh, for heaven's sakes, what the heck? Huh. There we go. Okay. So there's that one. Now, what I need for you to do is go into your July stuff and get the July card. All right. Now I have been cutting off this top so that there's approximately, let me show you, so that there's approximately 1/8 of an inch from the top of the word. And there's February. That one is a little bit heftier than that. That's almost 1/4 of an inch, and that's, you know, that's not much difference, but so yeah, I guess you want about 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. So I have about 1/8 of an inch. Yeah. Okay, so there I am with about 1/8 of an inch on the thing. Now I do have these little decorative edges to it. If you have any corner chompers, corner rounder, anything you want to use, I got for last Christmas, I believe it was, which I have not had a chance to play with, and of course can't, oh, there it is. I got one of these tab punch boards, and I had yet to be able to use it, so I'm not going to make the tabs off of this, because that's the first thing I thought of, but I said, no, not everybody's going to have this. But if you have a file folder, there's sometimes those little fancy corners on them. You can take and mark that. You can use your corner chomper, corner rounder, anything you want, or you can just leave it square. Either any way you do it, it's going to work just fine. Don't run out and buy this. But if you do have this, we're going to do one side like that and then flip it and do the other side. Okay, so there's that. That's the only part that I'm using, unfortunately, but like I said, I didn't want to use something that I knew not everybody was going to have. So let me go ahead and put the pin in my glue. Because I hate those little goobers that stop it up, and if you don't put the pin in your glue often enough, that's why you get those little goober thingies. Oh well. Okay. So one thing you can do, which kind of helps, I'm just measuring the blue paper. Now I'm not measuring the black, not that there's a whole lot of difference, but so 1, 2 1/2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's pull it. All right, so there is about center. And I think this ended up not working like that, but let me see. Yeah, it does work like that. That I did not change. So I need my little pencil. Yeah, here, little pencil. It's been feverishly working. So I found my center point, and let me go ahead and make a mark here. And I'll measure down from this and let you know what it is. 3 1/4. Okay, so at 3 1/4, that's basically my center, and that's where I'm going to place this second pocket, is right on that center mark. And then this will go inside. So that we have our tab, okay? So let's see, I've got things written all over the place, so nobody will see that though. You and I will know it's there, but nobody else will, and I'm sure you're not going to tattle on me. Okay, let's see, am I ready to, yes, I am ready to get this put down. Oh, and let me explain to you first how I've been doing this. So I have my 4 by 2 1/2 paper. I am putting a 1/2 inch score mark and folding it over, bringing it down to my paper, placing it where I know I want, you know, that much space, and then I know I want this much space on this side, and I'm putting a little score mark, and then going back to the scoring board and scoring it. Hence the reason why one of these is not quite a 1/2 inch and the other one is. Oh, I am so sorry. Excuse me. Wow. Okay. And I actually, well, and these should be exactly the same. So that's another thing you do want to make sure, because they're just so close to each other, you know, right on top of each other, that if they're not exactly the same, or you know, at least relatively close, we're not looking for perfection here. I think we all strive for it, but hopefully we all give ourselves a break, because there was only one perfect person in this world. So that kind of takes the pressure off. That takes the pressure off. Besides, we're making it for ourselves. If we end up giving it away, it's the crafting that we're enjoying. At least I hope you're enjoying it. I love when you craft with me. So, and I love all your comments. Oh my gosh, you guys just have spoiled me rotten. I just love it. But, you know, I hate a little sob story here, but I really don't know anybody here. I mean, we literally just said, let's get out of this heat. We lived in Florida, guys, and it is just so unbearable. My husband was born and raised in Florida until we got married, and then we really started traveling with his company. But we always would come home, and we just could not. The heat is getting so bad. It is just so much worse than it used to be. And we thought, well, if anything, we would enjoy it more because we're getting older. No. Not the case. Not the case. Okay, so there's our two pockets. Now, we are going to back this, and I'm just try and use my leftover pieces. I have all of my, they're not well put together, but let's see, is that large enough? Nope. Is this large enough? Oh, that is large enough. Let me show you. So this I'm going to use, and that will give me a nice black edge all the way around. Yay! Okay, put the rest of that back over there. I am keeping all of my black pieces, extra pieces, in one spot. And I'm keeping all of the rest of my cardstock right in front of me here. But the black, I've been, you know, doing all of this stuff on black. So I try and use up all my pieces. The whole idea is to use up everything. Everything. Now I'm not going to glue this down yet. Normally I would just glue it down, but I'm going to use the same process on here. But I am going to make a mark, and because I want to make a mark on the end over here, because that's where I'm going to line it up with my cutter. Let me get this down just a little closer. Okay. I don't want to try and figure out, I don't want to get a ruler and try and figure out, well, is this mark good? Is this mark good? You know. So flip it over. Get your finished line that you want on your paper. Line it up just like you would as if it was the other way. And now you can you see me? Now you can, let me see, can you? I think you can see that. I'll make a mark so that it'll be even. If I cut right on that mark, then I will have the same all the way around, and I didn't have to guesstimate because I didn't have a corner here to work with. Alright, hopefully that made sense to you. And in just a second, as soon as I cut this, I will move you back out, or I will forget, and you won't be able to see anything I do for the rest of the time that I'm doing stuff. And I have done that before too. Oh, Oh, all right. So now I'm going to pull out my tab punch again. You pull out your corner chomper, or if you decided to do nothing, don't worry about it. Okay. So now I am just going to line this up. Glue my edges down. Oh, I didn't put my pen back. That's just not good. Glue this down. See, and I want the top to work the best. That's what I am really focused on, so I'm going to do that first instead of last. So there we go. Put it over just a little bit. Oop. No, crooked. Sorry. That's much better. Okay, make sure that the glue is gonna really hold since I've pulled it up. Now, it did leave a little bit more on the bottom, so you can either choose to cut that off or leave it. I'm going to see how it's gonna work with everything else. And it's perfect. So there you go. Okay, so that is all we did with that. I will use other, you know, some of the different tags. I'm not worried about the tags just yet. If you have the 6.5 by, no, the 6 by 8 paper pad, I've been using the bottom half with the calendar on it. The bottom half of it I've been using for these pockets. And they are a little short, but I don't know, this one is got some funkiness on it. I don't know what happened here, but let me get this straight. There we go. This just was not a pretty cut. Okay, so if I, yeah, you know, I think they're so pretty and so busy that I just don't know that you're really going to notice that it's a little bit more on the sides than it is the top and the bottom. I just don't. So I'm going to ink these up and put this on. See, where are we right now? We're at 38 minutes, I think. Okay, so let's get this part done. I was trying to keep these down. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down, and I'm going to get the rest of the parts ready for you. I'll be right back. Okay, for this next step, these are the things you're going to need. You're going to need the, out of the 6 by 8, if you have that. If not, you're going to need a piece that is probably slightly smaller than 6 by 6. So what would that be, like 5 7/8 by 5 7/8, or 5 3/4, whatever edge you want. I will be cutting this down both ways. So you'll need that. If you're going to use the little paper edge scissors, I mean, there's decal, there's everything. I'm using the mini scallops. You're going to need one piece that is at least 5.5 inches or longer and is 5/8 inches wide. Okay, so you need one of those. You're going to need your craft knife and your ruler. anything that you're going to put across the bottom of your magnet, your closure. So you could even put one of the postage stamps from the collection. You know, you could do anything, or you could do nothing. It doesn't matter. It's just that even with using these smaller magnets, they do tend to stay, they don't get covered by these as well as if they were a little wider. So hence the reason why I'm kind of, you know, just being distracting by having the nice flower. And what I'm doing is finding the opening in my, where is it? There it is. And I'm twisting my, oh, there it is. I don't know. There we go. Twisting my little loop open so I can get the next flower out. And I put those, okay, so I got my little flower, and I also have my little dooflunchies here for decorating, which I'm really not all that worried about that one for right now. Okay, so before we put this down, first we're going to cut it so that it's the right size, and you know, that's not real hard to do. I'm going to want a small edge. I'm going to take off, this has got a little cute little ladybug over here, so I think I need these to be somewhat even, so I guess I'm probably going to lose the ladybug, but I need to take off about 1/8 of an inch at least. So let's see, if I take that off of that side, I can still see the ladybug and tell what it is. And then I'm going to take off as much of the top as I can without losing any of the bling bling. And I lost a teeny bit. Let me see now. Let me see how this is before I cut any more off. Alright, that gives me a nice black edge all the way around. So, I'm going to put this aside for right now, and we're going to do all of our prepping. Go ahead and get these edges done now that I've got it cut. Okay. Alright, so now, put the magnets aside for a moment. Now we're going to get this prepped and ready. Now you're going to see both sides of this. This is our little magnetic tab that is actually holding this down. Even though it doesn't come past it, it still holds it down. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. My allergies have just been up and down and up and down. And I pulled out two papers that I thought would look nice with this paperwork, which is this, even though it's a little different color blue, this is the blue, and then this is, you know, the paper that actually is in these strips. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one because it's basically on a blank canvas, and I think that would be more interesting than this one. Even match a little better. Okay, so all I'm going to do is take my mini scallop scissors. I'm going to put this piece of paper just along this bottom line here. Let me stand up. Along this bottom line here, I'm going to put my piece of paper. I don't know, can you see? You can see the little scallop edges right here still. I'm going to put that just beyond those so that you can't see the scalloped edges. And then I'm going to start cutting. And that's going to give me a whole scallop. Now do not go all the way to the bottom. I'm sorry about the glare. If you close them, if you close these scissors all the way, there's about 1/4 of an inch that will give you nothing, but it will split the paper. Then when you, there's what my cut is. Then when you realign, you're going to want to put, let's see, you're going to want to put the edge that's cut into an edge that's cut. Line it back up and put the paper back where it belongs. Let me get this. Put the paper just past the end of the scallops and cut. And there you get a nice, there, all the scallops are uniform. Okay? So again, I'll do it one more time for you, and then I won't make you sit and watch the whole thing. That is just tearing off the back of the page there. I don't know what happened. Okay, so we're going to take an existing, I've got my finger in one of the, in the last existing scallop, and I'm going to put the paper, fit it into my fingernail, and then just cover up and, oops, wait a minute, get my finger, it's not easy, but it's worth it because you get a really pretty edge that you don't have to buy a punch for or anything because you've already got scissors. And then I'm just going to cut down. Don't go all the way down. Pick it up, and there's your nice even edge. Okay? So I'm going to do all the way down and all the way back, both sides, and then we'll get this down on our paper. All right, guys, so get to work. Do it carefully, do it slowly, make it beautiful, and when I come back, I'll show you how I do the ends. Work on it. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, have fun, guys. Okay, guys, as promised, I'm going to show you how I try and finish off the ends so it looks halfway decent. I pick a spot where, like this spot right here, so I'm trying to, maybe if I put this against some black. Okay, you see this first opening right here, or the first partial, I try and stick the corner. I don't know if you can see this. Anyway, the outer edge of the scallop I put on the inner edge of a cut. So this first inner edge right here, this very first one, and I put the outer edge of the scallop against that, and then I just cut across. And that gives, if you don't like it, do it again. But there you can see it's a little wonky, but for the most part it works. Let's try it again on this side. Just pick the closest one and try and so there you go. It's good. It'll look nice. Oh, I got some glue on my glass. I have got to clean this. I tell you, I really enjoy working on the glass. It is kind of a pain to clean, but all in all, I'm quite happy with it. Okay, so now we have our 5/8 inch wide, and like I said, it's got to be at least 5.5 inches to be long enough to do the trick. Right under the July, right under Wednesday, this line up that we're working on, let me get you a little closer. There, okay. So this line right here, we're going to center this in the middle of those two lines. And I want to bring it all the way down let's see, what did I have? Yeah, all the way down to this final line. So I'm bringing mine all the way down to this final line that's in the grass and centered so it'll come right down to there. All right, just so you guys can make sure you can see what I'm doing here. And that's how I'm kind of lining all of them up. All right. And that looks, I tell you, sometimes in the light with this, it is kind of hard to find center, but I believe that's it. So, I'm going to get at least 3/4 of an inch, anywhere between this, anywhere after or right at this July, the word that's right there. So I'm just going to make a line, 1/4 of an inch from the top of the paper so that it's not going to stick out the top, but that I have some of it that's enough to glue it down where we're going to cut into it. And I'm going to make a little mark right on this blue line that is circling this red part on both sides of where I have my 5/8 of an inch strip here. And so with that, I'm going to get my little ruler. Yep, I'm going to get my little ruler. Oh my gosh. There it is. I don't put it away. I can never find it. And I am going to cut from the one line to the other line. And that should leave me enough room to be able to get it in. But I'm going to cut where I'm not going to get into the scroll work by the July. Now if you don't have this and you want to just hook it underneath and bring it over, or even if that's what you want to do, totally fine. I just wanted to be able to see the month, and so that's why, you know, I'm doing it this way. So I'm going to come just below the scroll work, and oh, here it is, right in front of my face. Right in front of my face. All right. Okay, so that ought to work right about there. Make sure I've got it straight, because that would not be good. And put your little point right where the first one starts and bring it down to right where, oh, a little too far. Dang it. Dang it. I hate when that happens. Okay, that's all right. You know, it's okay. It will work out in the wash. So, okay, it fits in there fine, obviously, since I did way too much. So now this piece is just on the top, is just going to get cut, and I'm just going to kind of cut it right about where the line is on this strip, and I'm going to cut this strip right there at the line. Okay, so there is the one piece, and then here is the second one. Now whichever one you like on the top is the one you use. I think I'm going to go for this one actually on the top, and then that one we can just, if you want to ink it. I'm going to cut this one down, and this little piece here I'm just going to throw away. Not a whole lot I could think of what we could do with that one. I don't get real crazy about what paper I keep. And then I'm just going to run this. I've got a little jobby here that didn't come off. There. And I'm just going to kind of knock that white out as much as I can. And I'm not looking to ink on the paper. I'm just looking to cover up the white. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this one down. Okay. Bring it down so that you're getting it the same distance on the sides as the bottom and glue it down. If you have any ink, if you have any glue come out, just get it the best you can. Got just a little bit coming out the side right there and right there. There we go. Okay. It does dry clear, so not a big worry. Now on this side, before we stick this one down, we're going to get one of our magnets. Yep, we're going to get one of our magnets. Honestly, guys, I just sat back down. We've gone through dinner. There it is, right there in front of my face. I've gone through dinner and everything and came back in here. And yeah, I feel like I totally lost my mind. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue and just kind of bring it up where you know the paper at least is going to have a chance to cover it as best as possible. So I've got a little glue, and I'm going to use an eighth of an inch double-sided tape to go over the top of this. And it does two things. It kind of, you know, holds it in place while we're waiting for the glue to dry. And the fact that the double-sided tape kind of comes off the edges, at least for this one section, it's going to not make it bam round like, oh, there's something there. I'd rather hide it as much as possible. So that's why I do that. I have seen people doing it just because it helps it stick down, but you glue paper on it. So quite honestly, you know, if you're gluing it down and then you're gluing paper over the top of it, now I know as a rule you don't normally want to put too much glue on top of the magnet because it can lessen the amount of magnetivity that it has. Ooh, big word. I don't even know if it is a word. I think maybe it is. I tell you, we sit and watch the news sometimes, and both my husband and I'll look at each other and go, is that a word? He goes, I don't know. And we'll look it up, and sure enough, you know, most of the time, sometimes the phone will go, what? You know, what do you, and it'll come up with all these other different words that he thinks you're trying to spell. And of course, if you don't know what it means, it probably means you don't know how to spell it either. So it's really sometimes quite funny to try and look things up. Because my daughter, she'll always say, well, just Google it. And I said, well, how do you Google something when you don't know how the heck it's spelled? What's up with that? And she goes, well, just say it into the phone. And oh man, sometimes you get all kinds of weird things when you do it that way too. So it's quite comical. Okay, so we are covered. It doesn't come down the sides really well, but because it's just there. If I put a little bit of glue on both sides, maybe I can get it to, not on top of the paper. Maybe I can get it to just grab around the sides a little bit, just hide it ever so slightly better than it's being hidden right now. Of course, it does kind of take away from the charm of the, I think this side, if I squeeze it nice. Just squeeze it! Squeeze it! Ah, till the blood comes out of your fingers. I know sometimes you're going, oh my gosh, what else could I do? Because this is killing me. Okay. All right. So there's that. And let me put the glue back in my pin. Yep. Yeah, it might be a little too late. You guys might get more entertainment than you do crafting from me now. Okay, so now I'm going to slide this into my opening here that I made. And I'm going to, I'm sorry, I have to hold this up to find if I'm on the center. It's just light enough that it is quite difficult. All right, I think, and it has to come in further because I want this to end on this line right here. I know it's kind of weird that I didn't bring it down to go below this, but you know, this is not really for pictures. This is for, you know, it's just not something that, I mean, you can certainly put pictures all over it if you want to, but, and I'm going to remove my little lines here. Not that they did me any good because I cut past them, but all right. So once I get this where I want it, and it seems like it's in the center. Oh my goodness, it is so light. And then I've got it at this green line. Okay. Now I've got it too high. Either I've got it too low or too high. I didn't say this was going to be super easy. A little fiddly. It's not hard. Just some of it may be a little fiddly. Okay, so I'm holding it in place so I'm not letting it move. And I'm, oh, yeah. Remove the pin. And I'm just going to put some glue underneath there. And I'm going to grab my score tape. And I'm going to put a piece across the cut. Oh, that was a little too big, but that's okay. You know, it all goes into holding it together. So, burnish that, get this down. There we go. Okay, so that looks good. Very nice. Now the next thing I'm going to do is, I am going to use, I've got diamond glaze. You could use, what's the other one? Glossy accents. You could even use your art glitter glue. But this just happens to be what I have out on my desk right now. So that's what I'm using. And you're going to figure out how you want, if you do this, and you don't have to do this. Figure out where you want it and where the glue actually touches the paper, and then you just give it a little, and then it doesn't take a lot, but I figured this is probably going to be something that people are going to kind of tug at when they put it, you know, when they go to open it. So, and then I'm just kind of centering it. Got the, oops, yeah, come on. Kind of centering it with the paper and the points. Okay, so there's that. And then I've got a little binder clip. I'm just going to lift this up, put the binder clip down. Of course, I've got glue everywhere now. And I'm going to put this to the, oh my goodness gracious. We're going to put this to the side for a moment. Oh, I really overdid the glue on that. So I'm going to let that dry for a moment. And let's see, what else is it that we have to do? We have to figure out what we're going to put on the inside of this and what we're going to do here. Now this is where you can get a little more scrapbookish if you'd like. If you think that you will use these for pictures of a new baby, or you know, whatever you might use. So this is the paper. This is what I had left after cutting this piece, plus a little piece. And just too boring. Don't want to do that. So I'm going to look here and see what else I might have. Pink's Christmas. That might be interesting. And it's got July on it in many places. No on the yellow. The stripe, possibility. That's got too many of the other colors in it, because this doesn't really have any yellow, so maybe no on the stripe. No on the pink. No on that. And no on that. So really, that is about it. The only other one is the green, and I don't really like the green because it's exactly the same pattern as the blue. So I think I'm going to go with this. Now, if you don't have this sheet, you could possibly, maybe you've got a 6x6 pad that coordinates with whatever you have. Maybe you just have some different cardstock that you could mix in. I picked up, let me see where it is. I got it for Christmas, and I'm sorry I'm taking time away from that, but I just thought I would show you if I can find it. Well, I'll be right back. I wanted to show you guys this. I got this for Christmas, and this is from Kraft Consortium, and it's called Grunge Light Tones. 6x6, 40 double-sided sheets, 20 designs, of course acid and ligand free, and 80 GSM cardstock. But look at how beautiful these are. Now you could totally do these by yourself. And there's, I don't remember how many, it said 4 of each design, but wouldn't that be something that's totally beautiful? I'm not going to use this because maybe some of you don't have that, but it goes through lots of different colors. And I mean, you could do this with your inks and stuff, but if you like it where it's just already pre-purchased, these are beautiful and will blend and go with anything. But again, you can do this yourself. However, I bought some, so well, I put it in my, I'd love to have that basket, and got it. Took me a moment to find it, so I'm glad I put you guys on hold. Let me get my diamond glaze. Now, diamond glaze, glossy accents, they're pretty much all the same as far as I can tell, so it really doesn't matter. I got this 4 or 5 years ago, and it was the end of a it was at a convention, and they got $5.99 on it, but they had 2 for $5.99, trying to sell them out. So I think I bought like 6 of them. I think I only have 2 left. But they've, as long as you keep them sealed, they've lasted this long for me. So just FYI. Okay, so now I am going to, and I think I'll be happy with this. I think this'll be nice. I'm going to line this up where I have a black edge around. Let me put this on the white. Hopefully you can, oh yeah, but you can see I've got a black edge here, and then I've got a little bit of black edge here, and then I'm just going to make my mark where I want to cut. So it's just inside where the black line is, just inside that edge, so that it'll be even with this black edge. And I'm also going to come over here and do the same thing. so that I can go ahead. I'm going to cut this one first, so I do have a strip left that I can use on pockets or whatever. Okay? You always want to think about how you're going to cut your papers to leave you with the largest piece that you can come back to later and actually use on your project. So, let's see now, where's my mark? Where is my mark? There it is. There she blows! I have to be kind of quiet. My husband went to bed. I don't know if I need that little piece. You know, I just question sometimes how much little teeny pieces people keep. But, you know, if you're journaling and you want to do a bunch of stuff, I don't know. I did so many journals that I'm just kind of tired of them right now. So I love them, but I'm just not doing them right now. Put that back in my sleeve so I'm not banging on everything. Okay, let me get this. I'm going to mark the edges, but I'm taking it off camera because it's starting to pit little pieces, throw little pieces out onto my work surface, and then I'm finding where it's marring up the pages, little black ink marks. Okay, let's go ahead and put this down. I don't know what that is. Laid it down on something, I guess. Get some glue on this puppy. Put it down. Oh my goodness, down. Starting to pick up a little bit of some southern drawl. When I was younger, I rode horses for many, many years, and my husband and I owned a training facility, and so a little more of my life there. I traveled around, and I did some, I guess you'd call it internships at some different barns, and one of them was in Georgia and one of them was in Louisiana. And so I picked up down instead of down, how now, brown cow, you know. My father would make me say, I'm going down, down, down. And he just had me repeat that over and over and over again. So I wouldn't say down. I'm going down to the market, you know. And I've noticed that I have started saying that again. My father's probably turning over in his grave, going, oh my gosh, that girl needs to learn how to talk. Okay, so we have that done. This is where we're going to put the magnet. Well, not on this sheet. We're going to put it underneath. And it's magnet to magnet. And so it's just going to have these three pieces and these two pieces to go through. But since you're doing it magnet to magnet, it is holding it nicely. If you're going to put pictures and things like that, then we need to figure out a way of putting a magnet underneath something on top of the paper. So you make that decision. You know, like if you were going to say, if we were going to put a pocket here or a tuck spot, or just use something as a you know, journaling spot, and you put a picture here. Well, we could put the magnet underneath this somewhere. You know, it'd have to kind of be at the top, so it would be a little tough writing at the top, but you'd definitely be able to write at the bottom. So just saying that it could be an option for you. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these. These are the basic gray magnets, but I found these when I was moving down in the very bottom of a case that I had. didn't know that I had them, and all the silver's coming off of them, which doesn't bother the magnet part of it, but so I'm going to put that there. So they're old. I think the package itself had like 2004 on it or something, so they're old. Anyway, okay, so I don't know if this is dry yet. Doesn't look like it. It does look like I have quite a bit extra kind of roaming around in there. I'm going to take this off just for a second. Is it dry? Yeah, it's on there. Okay, put that back for the next one. So, I've already inked the edges, right? Yeah, I missed a little corner here. That's okay. So I've already inked the edges, so now I can go ahead and put this down. Find your little black edge. Find your happy place, paper. Find your happy place. Oh gosh. Can you guys tell I really am enjoying being back in my craft room? Let me go ahead and take this tape off so I don't have to try and work around glue. I'm glad when I remember to do that. Alright, so we're going to get all four sides. I'm going to get on the tape a little bit on the little bit of paper that we've got for the that we've got this piece. Get some on that piece. Oh my gosh. Oh, good Lord. Alright, let's go back to your happy place. Alright, there we go. And ba-bam. Okay, so let's get all this down. Lift this up. And I know this, we have to bend this, but we're going to wait until we get this glued down properly. Make sure this is getting pushed down well. Okay, got a little coming out the edge here. I'm still getting glue happy. Got to get back into that, knowing where to get that glue put on. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going to flip this over, have the magnet find itself. There we go. So I'm just going to lift this up, put a little bit of glue. That was way too much. I don't want a ton of it between. All right, let me put the pin back in my glue. Oh, I'm got a little pin cushion. This was my grandmother's pin cushion, and my mother used it for years. But every time I put the pin in there, even though I wipe it off, it pulls a little bit of this velvet because it's so old. Pulls a little of that velvet away. Double sticky tape on the back of this so that it stays nice while it's drying. Okay, and then the only other thing now that you would want to do is if you want to do any kind of decoration in here. So we have, and I'm trying to do it a little different for each one. These are the things that we have. Now, I've already got plans to use this, so I know I'm not going to be able to use that. I have all of these words. This one I have plans to use, so I'm not going to use that one. Hand in hand. Now that's really cute. And I have put the other ones that have cute little sayings, I have put those. Oh, I'm so sorry, in there already. I don't really want to do another corner pocket. Let's see. Let's see. I could put a little pocket like that. And then if whoever gets this can put a picture here. Of course, you can put a picture here. And then this could be a little tuck spot that I could put the little hand in hand in. I don't know. Now this one's got a little more red to it, but this one would want to go this way. And I am going to keep it up above the end, where this comes. I don't want to see it popping out from underneath this. I guess I could use that, and then I could just use the little hand in hand there and just glue this part down. And I could put a little charm or something from there. I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to put an eyelet in here, and I'm going to look for something that I can hang there if I don't find anything quick. But I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I cut this out. I took one of these flowers and I cut a hole with my Big Daddy. Cut a hole 3/16 inch, and then I also used an eyelet. So there's just a little bit of a, oh, where are you? A little bit of a flower edge around. Yeah, you can see that. Okay. And that's why I'm going to leave it for right now. I cannot put it down here because it will be in the way of my magnet. So I'm going to put it up here. So I'm going to make a tension pocket, or tension tuck spot. So I want to leave the bottom half of this open because I'm going to slide this up. But I want this to actually stick to something. So I'm going to show you how you do that. I'm going to take a piece of double-sided tape, and this is the top up here. So I'm going to go about halfway down, not quite, and I'm going to get that burnished down, and then I'm going to take the backing off. Oh, come on. Obviously, I did not burnish it down well enough with just my finger. Little bugger. There it is. Just wanted me to do the job right. I am going to glue up in this area. This didn't flatten out, or it was too long of a base for such a little. That's why I did put the flower in there to try and take up a little bit of that. But when you use one that has a longer shaft to it, which they do make ones that are short shafted, long shafted. You just have to search around for them. We Are Memory Keepers sells, you know, a lot of them. That's usually who I go through. So I'm gluing the top. I put a little bit of glue here. I'm not putting glue on my tape. Get that back in there. And I'm going to put this, make sure I'm in camera here. I want to make sure I am not going over this edge, and I want about the same kind of spacing with the blue. Pull it down just a little bit. About the same kind of spacing, just make sure it's straight, and that's not straight. Okay, how's that look? This way and that way. Alright, so then you're just going to burnish that down. Some of that glue is not going to really catch, but there we go. Whoop! Little pop out of glue. It's like Old Faithful. Okay, so now when you do tuck this up underneath there, it actually does touch Now you don't want to jam it up in there because you don't need to do that, because then you are going to get it really into the tape and it'll tear. But if you just tuck it up in there and then you feel where it's stopping, you're actually getting it on the edge of that tape. And that's another reason why you want to make sure you really burnish that down. But that sucker ain't not going anywhere. You know, even it's moved a little bit, but it is still stuck there. So you're in pretty good hands. You get it? Hand in hand. I'm sorry. So we are done. We are done with this part of it. And I am going to now just a few little FYI things. I am going to try and post at least twice a week, and I'm trying to go for Tuesdays and Saturdays. We're going to see how that works. I missed this Tuesday because today is Tuesday and I didn't put anything up yet. It will probably, no, it's after midnight. Oh my gosh, it's after midnight. No wonder you're getting kooky, Lisa. So yeah, it's bedtime for Bonzo here. Time flies when you're having fun. What can I say? But I'm going to upload this stuff before I go to bed, and maybe tomorrow. So Wednesday, January 22nd. I'm going to do the materials list, and then I'm going to do one of these videos, this page. And then there'll be the 2 inside pages, and if I can get those in, both of those in a 30-minute time frame, I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to try and keep everything around 30 minutes. We'll see how I do. All right, guys. Thank you. Give me some thumbs up if you like what I'm doing. Leave me a comment because I love talking to you guys. And I check my phone 2 or 3 times a day and get those little thumbs going and saying, oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you for all your kind comments. So, yeah. And if you know, when you subscribe, if you hit that little button again and you get the notary thing, little bell, if you ding on that, then every time I put out a video, so if it's not on Tuesday or Saturday and I happen to put one out, it'll notify you. And then you can watch it at your leisure. You'll just know that there's one out there. Okay, guys. I'll see you later. Happy crafting. Do what makes you happy, guys. Do what makes you happy. All right. See ya.